Punky was describing my art. It was bright and kind of had a little bit of an attitude going on with some of my characters, like a really confident attitude, I should say. And Aloha was meant to describe how I live my life, the ethos of my business, and how important I think the act of Aloha is. I'm Shartuya Soa. I'm the owner and illustrator for Punky Aloha Studio. We're a studio that specializes in freelance and client work. We do murals, design. I run a merchandise shop. We just kind of do whatever we can in the world of illustration. I grew up around art. I was really lucky. My mom was also studying illustration at WCC. She took us to classes with her because she couldn't find a babysitter. Her instructor when I was a little toddler ended up being my instructor when I then went off to community college initially to start studying art. From an art perspective, I've always been a figurative artist. I've always really loved drawing the human figure. I've spent hours drawing from the nude model. That's what a lot of us artists have to do. Just endless hours learning human anatomy. I've always grown up around really strong, thick, curvaceous Polynesian women who I always looked at as the most beautiful human beings on earth. I draw different body types for different stages of my mood, of where I'm at in my life. I mean, it just kind of comes out naturally. This is the world I live in, I guess. These are the women I thought were beautiful, the men I thought were beautiful. These are the people that I'm most familiar with. So that's always an influence, but I think I just draw from so many different places that sort of informed what I do now. Like animation, obviously that's a big one for me, but also a lot of the old masters in realism also come in there, and graphic design was a big sort of recent influence for me. That was never an influence that I knew of growing up, and even studying art in art school. Graphic design sort of made its way into my world when I started looking for work after art school. And I fell in love. Illustration, at least the way I always saw it for myself to be able to survive, was that I had to do several different things. I could never just focus on only being a freelancer and that's all my income's gonna come from. I was focusing on freelance, but I was also focusing on doing the prints. Then I also wanted to focus on getting into murals. So like I had to learn how to balance that out because that takes so much work. In the first couple years, I was working 7 days a week from morning until night, ignoring my family, ignoring my own health, so focused on making sure the streams of income were always just coming in because at any moment, one of them could stop, you know, or all of them could stop. And so like, I think the biggest hurdles is learning how to run a healthy business without sacrificing your sanity and your health. Yeah, nobody told me that. I've always just been told work, 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 work. You're only gonna get if you like, look at The Rock, you know, like he lives off of that hustle and I look up to that, but I don't think that that's how my life is gonna play out because it just made me really unhappy. Yeah, so it's been a big, long learning curve for that. It's tough out here. I've put in a lot of work. I've put in years and years of learning my technique and learning my community and loving my community, and it intersected beautifully. So I'm so pleased that I'm able to work with a lot of big clients. I just like to do what I like doing. I recognize that the reason I started, I'm like very vocal about being Pacific Islander and doing it is because in comparison, there's not a lot of us being recognized. I think there's a lot of us out there doing it. They just need to get the love, you know? Like now, there are local artists, like born and raised local artists everywhere and stuff. And I remember the whole reason I started doing that was because there wasn't any. And we were all kind of like, a lot of us kind of started around, I think we were all seeing the same thing at the same time because we were all coming up together. It's been really, really beautiful. I will say on that note too, that our local artist community is extremely supportive and wonderful. It's just a matter of getting that support within our community and having bigger companies simply look around. We're everywhere, yeah. Art can feel sort of selfish and self-centered, right? Because you're just creating what you want to create out of your mind. But if you center it around community, around bigger issues, then you feel like you're sharing more and it feels a little less self-centered. I think my greatest advice is just make sure you love what you're doing because you're going to be doing it a lot. Because if you are, you know, crying in the corner, you know, like rocking back and forth because you're so stressed out, you have to be able to share your creativity and do it with like a clear head. A lot of it's luck, a lot of it's work. I mean, it's just there's so many factors. Yeah, but it's possible. People do it every day.